welcome back to Legislative Lens, People and Policy. I'm your host, State Representative Michelle Badger, and today I'm thrilled to have two of our amazing summer interns here joining us for a very special episode. This summer, we had 7 incredible interns in our office, 4 from Plymouth and 3 from outside of Plymouth. They brought so much energy, curiosity, and enthusiasm to our office, and each of them made a real impact during their time with us. Our interns were Francois Amani, Plymouth North alumnus and Bridgewater State University class of 2029. Annabelle Bagley, recent graduate of Boston Latin School and a freshman at Wake Forest University. Shaylin Braz, recent graduate from Plymouth South High School and a freshman at Tufts University. Adam Halpern, Plymouth North alumnus and Rutgers University class of 2027. And Mame Marouk Dukur, rising senior at Plymouth South High School. And the 2 interns who are here today in studio that we're so excited to have, we have Stella Reid, a rising sophomore at Rising Tide Charter School, and Nick Rufo, a rising senior at Hanover High. Thank you so much for coming today. It has been a joy to get to know you all, and I'm so excited for everyone to get an opportunity to hear directly from you. So thank you so much for joining. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So as someone who had the opportunity to myself have an internship in the Senate, I'm really excited to hear what you all kind of took away from this, and I really hope you enjoyed your experience. So we're going to get started with a little background information. I always like to start every podcast with just a little level set so everybody knows who you are or what we're talking about on the subject base. And so can you tell us a little bit about what made you interested in having an internship in our office?
So at my school, there was a couple upperclassmen that were really big inspirations to me, and through them, I was able to make the connection, and I kind of became more aware of my passion for it and knew that this was going to be a beneficial next step for me and something that I definitely enjoy doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and to make that decision as a freshman in high school is huge. So it's awesome. We're so glad that you did.
So I've always been very interested in politics, and I've always known that I want to go down the law path, and I wanted to get some experience and get out there before I head into college and start making bigger decisions. So I wanted to see what there was available to get some of that experience. We found a connection, I reached out, and this was great internship. I didn't know what to expect at all, and it was good. So felt like I was doing meaningful work, which is another thing I was really looking to do. Like, if I'm going to invest my time, I want it to be going towards something good, and that was a big motivator for it.
Yeah. Stella, did it surprise you what you were doing in the office? Is it what you thought it would be?
Yeah, it was somewhat of a surprise, but I really enjoyed it. Like, I didn't realize that I'd be going to the State House and kind of getting to do all those extra things that weren't necessarily maybe directly politics related, but very beneficial to my community. Yeah. So that was really enjoyable and fun.
Yeah, so much of what we do isn't directly legislative. It isn't directly on a bill. I mean, that is also a big part of what we do, but so much of what we do is really that connecting with the community. I mean, you both have been to community events for us and gone to the State House and been, to briefings and things, because there's so much to learn and so much to take in that your role as interns and people in our staff is so important. And so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about more details of what you've been doing. What kind of projects or tasks have you been working on? We'll get a little bit deeper in your bigger topics later, but if you want to talk about high level kind of day-to-day things.
I'll say I worked a lot with social media, sort of, doing a lot of Canvas for roadwork reports and stuff like that. Some bill briefings, which I really enjoyed. It was kind of a challenge trying to break down such important information into a few words for our social media platforms. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it was nice because I still had a lot of time to work towards my bigger stuff, so it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, and that Canvas stuff's so important because we're really trying to get that word out about what we do, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we can sit and do whatever we want, and but if nobody knows what we're doing in the community, then to everybody else doesn't look like we're doing anything. And we do. I mean, even those roadwork graphics are so important because we hear back that people are so thankful that they know, this is going to be backed up. Maybe they should go this direction, or what's happening, and they want to know. Like, one of the graphics you made the other day was for the roadwork on Beaver Dam and State Road, and we didn't know why But come to find out, it was that left-hand turn signal that our office has been working on for a year and a half. And like the next day, I get messages from a few people who are like, "There's a left-hand turn signal over here at Keller's," So they were really excited. So we don't always get all the information, but making sure that we're passing that along is so important.
Day to day, probably like it would be about half and half between an intern project and just doing stuff around the office, whether it be helping mail things, deliver things, put together care packages. But we had a couple larger intern projects that we did this summer, such as 2 other interns and I proposed a bill and spoke at a mock hearing at the State House. So that was one thing that we would do. And we set up a community event at, I think it's the Plymouth Library. And we had a table of information and we had care packages, and it was just distributing resources to people who might not know what resources there are available specifically for the unhoused and housing insecurity in Plymouth. So we had a good mix between projects and just doing day-to-day office work.
Yeah, and the projects were new this year. Last year, our interns, we didn't have we were just trying to figure out what we were doing in our first year. And the second year, we have Mame, one of our interns. I had met her, probably March of 2025, and just had been really talking with her about getting to know her. She was very involved in community service, and I had met her, and she expressed to me her interest in the unhoused and the homeless and those who are housing insecure. And so just hearing from her and having lots of conversations with her in the last year and a half, when she said, I'd love to have an internship this summer, one of the things I thought about was, we know that Plymouth has the highest growing homeless population in Plymouth County. People don't often think that, but it is true. Like that, you can hide in Plymouth more than you can hide in other places. And so I thought it was perfect to bring to you guys and be like, all right, let's do all the research we can. We know we have so many wonderful organizations that we partner with on a daily basis, and for you all to get to know a little bit more about them, and then to figure out I left it really open. You guys had to find the groups and organizations, and then who did you want to meet with? And then how are we going to show this to the rest of Plymouth so that Plymouth knew the important resources that are available, not only to the people who may be unhoused or homeless or are housing insecure, but also to our neighbors who may know people who are, or because how can our neighbors better help people? And that's what you guys did. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the meetings and pulling everything together? I know Mame did most of the meetings, but.
Yeah, so our group had a lot of different ideas, which we really liked. It started in the State House breakout room, and everyone brought something different to the table, whether they actually knew if the resource existed or not. They brought it from their own communities and was like, hey, let's see if Plymouth does a similar thing.
Yep.
And that's how we got the base of that, like church groups and the Plymouth Coalition, amongst other places, and different volunteer places. And it was good because, like, at first you go in and you're like, wow, like, I'm not going to be able to find anything.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, what there even is. And then we were able to put together a table with all these different resources for anything that someone might need, like food or hygiene or just a place to stay. And it felt good working that table. And, people would come up who actually have those issues, and then their face would, like, light up when they see you, or they would be like, wow, like, I actually need this, or hey, like, I'm doing okay, but, like, I know someone who needs this. And that sort of, like, made it all full circle that there is stuff out there that can help you. And I thought that was, like, really important.
Yeah.
Going to the actual event, I think something really important you mentioned was the fact that a lot of people might not be experiencing it, or if people are experiencing it, they might be too shy to come up.
Yeah.
So one thing that I really emphasized on was making sure I asked, like, do you work with our hygiene baskets? I asked a lot of people. I was like, do you work in a public space, somewhere where the public will come in? Are you a school teacher?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, really trying to give out the stuff, because a lot of times, people who are experiencing it might not have the opportunity to be at these events. So I really tried to make sure that a lot of people that were big in the community had the opportunity to get these resources for people they might come in contact with.
Yeah, and you all put together little baggies that had socks that were donated, toothpaste, toothbrushes,
Info packets, contacts, all different things.
And then there were also backpacks that you got donated from the
Oh, yeah.
coalition,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Coalition.
Those had like blankets and stuff.
Yep, for those who you may have encountered that maybe needed them. I was able to go for a little bit and, hang out with you two. The decision was made by you all that the best place to get this information out to the rest of Plymouth was to use the Plymouth Public Library Arts and Crafts Festival, which it was. There's always so many people there, despite the 400 degrees that it was. I don't even know, but it was so hot and so humid. But you had such a great response. And you're right. There were people who came up when I was there who had that need. And then you've got teachers who have these closets in their classrooms or people, like you say, who work in other parts of the community that are dealing with, they have people come in that this is here, let me put this in the bathroom, and if someone needs it, they can take it. And that's what we want. We want people to get those resources they need.
Yeah, I really wish I had the opportunity to have more people actually experiencing it, but I think it was something that comes with time.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for very long. I only worked 4 hours, so I'm hoping in the future I get an opportunity to.
I think it was good. From what I noticed was a lot of the people that were there, like a good chunk of them already work in volunteering and they already work at the organizations. So like even though they wouldn't need anything, they took a bunch of stuff from us so that they could redistribute it. So it's getting to the people who need it, whether they came up to our table or not.
Exactly.
Which is good.
You all are having an impact, and I'm so glad. I think from just talking with all of you that you really enjoyed the experience, and from soup to nuts, because as you said, like you start out going, I don't think I really know anything, and how can I be helpful? And then you are helping people right in our community, making a difference. So I hope you guys are proud of yourself for that project. I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the other project I know that you had your own project. You want to tell us a little bit about what you're working on?
So what I've been working on, kind of slowly developing since this spring, was getting Massachusetts the Civic Seal, which is essentially a seal that declares excellence in civics. And it's really unique because it specifically emphasizes on students who might not be as academically inclined, like students who might not have the highest GPA, but they're making such big strides in their communities that they can be rewarded for this, which I noticed through my research was a really big motivator for students to really start trying and putting in that effort. So I think it would be really beneficial to our community.
And what does a civic seal mean to you? Like what are the parts that go into that civic seal?
The research on it was definitely a challenge because there's a couple states that have it, but kind of the blueprint is California.
Yeah.
And through my research, I definitely noticed that I was not able to find a lot about the cost of it.
Yeah.
But I was able to find out that it's something that is very state specific. So the state can kind of choose, like different districts can also choose what this means. So the outline for it is very brief, and then the districts can be like, well, we think that that you should have to complete 72 hours of community service to get it. Where other states could be like, I think you should only have to complete 24 hours of community service. Yeah. So it was kind of a challenge for me to find what would work best for Massachusetts, but I think that will come with more research.
Because we have other seals, right?
Yeah. Like the seal of biliteracy, it's very similar to.
Yes. So it's a great thing. I think that's huge that you've got this idea, and now that you've done some research, and then we can kind of look deeper into it, and maybe there's a conversation that we can have with Desi or somebody to talk about what this might look like. Is this something that you can do? Because many school districts already have some of the standing or some of the kind of what would be the criteria to do it. So it could be something to talk with Desi about. But to have that idea and do that, and maybe we can make it into a bill someday.
Yeah, when I was talking to Donna, she was like, you should interview Michelle and, your head of school and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely think talking to Desi would be a good next step.
Yeah, no, I just keep doing it. Figure out what we can do and how we can help you. You just always let us know. And then we also had the other project you talked about, Nick, which was, so we have a freshman legislator, which is Representative Moakley, who's been on this podcast before. He and his aide, Joey, came up with this really great idea last year to do a mock hearing at Falmouth Public Schools. And I remember when he told me about it, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I want to know more about that. And so this summer, what they did is they brought it to the interns, but only those of other freshmen. So those of us in our first term, our interns, were allowed to be part of the process. You want to tell us how it started and all that?
Yeah, so Annabelle, Francois, and I put together a list of bills that were slightly controversial because the point was you wanted to have something that you could tip the scales on.
Mm-hmm.
And we put together a list of what our favorite bills were, and you had the option. You can support it, you can go against it. So we picked House Bill 568, which was about student representation on town and school committees.
Yep.
So it would give student representatives on the school boards the ability to vote in school decisions. So we put together a research project, pros and cons. We prepped for the questions section of the testimony or
Yep.
hearing.
Yep.
So at the State House, Francois and I spoke in front of the panel of, I think there were 9 representatives.
Yep.
And Annabelle was there, but she was doing the writing, transcribing part. We were speaking.
She did a written testimony,
Written
right?
testimony,
Yes.
that's right. So Francois and I each got a 2-minute testimony in favor of our bill, and we made our case. And then the reps asked you questions. Then you had to think on the spot. You can't truly prep for something like that. But I think we did a great job, and we made a very well coherent, cohesive argument. And a lot of people support this bill already,
Yep.
especially some of the reps that were up there. And I think that was good. I think we helped push them even further to want to get this passed. And I know especially in my own community, that's a bill that I would certainly support because I think students know their generation and their schools better than anyone on a town board ever could.
Yep.
So it went very well, and it was good experience, good practice, speaking in front of representatives and speaking on the spot.
Yep.
And yeah, it felt good to think that maybe my voice pushed a bill to get passed in the future.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the bill process, what you went through is exactly what we go through. You know, you've got a bill that you've maybe filed or did the research for, and then you're then going to, there's a hearing and you don't know when it's going to be, and the hearing comes up and they notify you, and then you have to be, like you said, you have to be ready. You give your 2 to 3 minutes or whatever it might be, and then you have to answer all the questions, and you just never know what the question's going to be, right? And you also had an opportunity to talk with the chair of our school committee here in Plymouth, Luis Pisano, and what did you learn from that conversation?
I learned that this bill and the idea behind this bill is very widely supported, and a lot of people don't see much controversy in it.
Yep.
A lot of people don't see why it wouldn't work, but just for whatever reason, it hasn't been like implemented at a state level yet.
Yeah.
Some towns do it. A lot of towns have student representatives, but they can't vote.
Yep.
And basically what he was saying was he would love to see this because he doesn't value the kids' opinions more necessarily, but he knows that the kids are the ones who are living the policy every day.
Yes.
So they should have a vote in what and how their lives are being dictated at school.
Yeah.
So, and they have the true feedback. So, you know, even something as simple as cell phone policies, maybe adults who don't know how cell phones are actually used in school might try to get them completely banned, but a student should have the right to be able to go to one of these meetings and say, hey, this is actually what's happening.
Yep.
And so that was important. He thought that was important. He is fully behind this bill. And that was good to hear that it's not just kids who want more representation. It's people on the boards know that too. And that was good.
And I think for me, when I was on the school committee, the students were some of the best parts. You know, you got to hear their perspective, and sometimes you just wanted them to participate more. And if you don't have a reason because you're not voting, or, you know, the article and the conversation in front of you is not going to directly impact you because, again, you're not voting. Your voice, we still want to hear your voice. But I can see why they don't stay the whole meeting because there's nothing there for them besides here's what's happening in my school, even though we'd love to do more. And it all depends on the student. I found in my time on the school committee, we had students who would stay for a whole meeting, give PowerPoint presentations, and give their feedback on certain things. And then we'd have students who would come give their write-up, and then they would leave. Just in our group of interns, we had 2. We had Shay, who was a student representative for South when I was on the school committee, and then Adam as well, who was a representative for North at different times. And so it's so important. I think the one thing that we talked about that might be the problem is logistically. How do we make sure that the student is able to make it to the meetings, and if they're so involved, you would hate to take a student and be like, oh, you can't go to your game today, or you can't do this because you have a school committee meeting. So I think that is what I think collectively we're all like, that's the one thing where you're like, sorry, Stella, it looks like you have something to say.
Yeah, so I feel like the work that Nick was talking about actually works very in tandem with my idea about the civic seal, because I forgot some very important parts. But one thing that was a really big part of it was the use of student voice and the advocacy for the civic seal in California. It almost is a project in itself, getting the seal, because like just the students, I saw someone say that the students would write thousands of letters to the board to really get this into motion, and I think it's really interesting. But I will say another challenge was the logistics. I know one problem was that the training for it, professional development days. On professional development days, so much time is put towards other things that the concern was all the teachers would have to kind of go through this training to have a further understanding of what the civic seal was, and it would take a lot of time, and a lot of teachers were opposed to it taking time out of their professional development days, which was kind of the challenge for us. So it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, the logistics are always the problem.
I know as far as students going to the school boards, as what you were saying, if they're too involved, they might not be able to. So Francois and I proposed as our answers, because they asked the same question. We proposed that there's an application process rather than a election process. Because instead of just having everyone nominate a kid, because then the kid would be like, wait, I can't even actually do this. I don't want to do this. You have the kids who might want to go for their civic seal apply to this, be like, I am able to commit to this and I want to do this. And that way you get the kids who actually care more than just the kid who might only get nominated just because they take 5 APs in 3 sports. So,
and that's a great piece too, because to go back to how hearings work, and we've done a podcast about committees and how they function here, but when you give your testimony, sometimes it's not just this bill's wonderful, I think it's perfect the way it is. It's this bill is good, but we could make these minor changes. And then what comes out of a committee will many times have those minor changes in it to make it something that is more palatable or more understanding for others that are looking at it. So it's perfect when you are advocating for change. It's not always right in front of you is not always perfect. It's a long process to get to where we need to be, right? So outside of those projects, or maybe it was those projects, what was your favorite thing that you took part in?
I'll say I really enjoyed, this is kind of one of the smaller things that has a bigger overall image. I really enjoyed talking with the constituents and just making those connections. I know when I was working at the table for the homelessness project at the fair, Francois was there and he was like, Stella's the spokeswoman. Just let her talk to the people. I met some really great people who are very important people in our community, and just getting to talk with them and learn their experiences and make those connections was really amazing, and I really loved it.
And you had an opportunity to talk to some people who came in the office too. So hearing some of the things that we deal with that and that we help people kind of work through, whether it's unemployment or there's a housing problem or what it might be. But you've seen a lot of that being in the office too. So what about you, Nick?
Honestly, the same as Stella. I think the people that came up to the table and you can have a true, meaningful conversation that has more weight to it than meets the eye. And, you feel like a part of that. So, it's not just like a regular internship or a regular job where you're just sort of doing it for yourself. You sort of just you can take a step back afterwards and be like, hey, I actually did something. And that was a really good part of it. On a more selfish level, I think speaking at the State House was pretty cool. I can tell all my friends that. You work at a restaurant, but I spoke at the State House. That was pretty cool.
Oh, I love that. I know I was talking to Francois, and he said one of his favorites was actually one of the first days you guys were together as a group, and it was when you did the elder abuse walk in Plymouth, and he really enjoyed being part of that whole community. So it all goes down to what you're saying. It's something bigger than yourself, and that's what this is, and it shows you that you too can have an impact in so many different ways. And I think another piece that we always talk about is there's the politics piece, but then there's the our office and what state reps and state senators do, but then there's also so many other people that you've seen through this process. There's the advocates, there's our lobbyists, it's the people who are coming to us with issues and ideas, it's our residents. It's so much larger than what it is on the surface. You know, you think, okay, we're going to go in here and there's legislation happening or whatever, but it's such a larger, the legislation is just the head of the pin, you know? So there's so much more. So what, was there something unexpected that you did or learned?
I think
You go first.
I think going and kind of continuing off the talking with people. I know Francois was there with me when this experience happened. Sometimes you'll get someone that doesn't necessarily align with your views, but you really need to make sure that you're still representing your beliefs and obviously Michelle's beliefs, because we're representing her at the end of the day, but still making sure the person feels respected and like we're valuing their takes.
Yep.
And it was definitely a challenge being like, the woman was, very passionately speaking to us, and we kind of had to be like, I see where you're coming from. Like, I totally understand why your situation would make you feel that way, and I understand that that's what you value. But, we personally value this, with also making sure that she knew that we respect that she has her own views, and that's very important, that she can have her own views and we can have a respectful conversation.
We need more of those respectful conversations in the world.
Well, going into this, I genuinely had no idea what was going to happen at all. It sort of just open mind with it. I mean, if someone had told me last year that I would be like marching in like almost like a protest on my first day, I would not have believed you. But
the elder abuse walk.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I would never have thought I'd be doing that, and it was a great experience.
Yeah.
And I think the surprising thing about this was all these things I'd never thought I would be doing actually like felt really good to do.
Yeah.
So that was probably like there was more to it than I thought it was going to be. That was the surprising thing.
Yeah. And I know you said that you've kind of already have like what you want to do in the future. How does this really fit into it? You alluded to it in the beginning.
I don't know what I want to do in the future. I know I enjoy law and politics and civil advocacy and world events, but I think it fits in with the advocacy part, and it fits in with the connecting to people part, which I've always prided myself on, the ability to connect and speak with people and then speak for them. And I think that's really important. I think that was a good skill, so that like we would get the resources from the foundation, and then we would build the house on top of it, which is speaking at the State House. And I could see every level of the process, and I could see all the different types of people that work in it, from even the lowest levels to the highest levels, or just how many different gears are in the total machine to make something work.
Right.
So
it's not as simple as it looks.
Yeah,
right?
and I think that was good to see how the process really works.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I know it's obviously you're going into your sophomore year, so there's a lot that you still have in front of you. So I don't want either one of you to actually know what you're going to do, because there's so much. And we've had this conversation. Like, you can think you want to do one thing, and your path is going to zigzag. Nobody's path is straight, right? So how does this fit in?
So I definitely think that, very similar to Nick, I definitely know that I want to do something in, community advocacy, law, and politics. But I also am very open-minded to where that would bring me. Like, I know I've attended military school fairs to see if going into a military academy would be something I was interested in to eventually be a Judge Advocate General. But yeah, I'm just really trying to keep an open mind, and right now I'm just kind of working on the advocacy in my small areas. Like at my school, I advocate for a lot of different things. Even if I'm not really a part of them, I'll find a way to advocate for them. But yeah.
And you have a lot of opportunities in your school to do that, which is great.
I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do with law going into this. That's what I wanted to find.
Yeah.
And I just, on a little event we went to at the Center for Active Living, we were talking with this woman who was basically, for lack of better terms, just getting screwed over by the healthcare system.
Oh, yes. Yep. When we went to one of our office hours.
I was really listening to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I went home that night and I thought, like, wow, this happens to like a lot of people. And ever since that, for colleges, I've been researching which ones have really good medical law programs.
Good.
And I think to get that out of an internship is super important.
Yeah.
That like you know the broad, which is law,
Yep.
and now you're interested in a specific, and that was how it alluded to the future. And I think that
Yeah.
was good.
No, that's great. I mean, that conversation that we had, like you said, there's so many people that have medical issues, so many medical needs that we help with, whether it's getting a simple thing as getting an appointment, or like she was talking about, if you are an individual who is single and you don't have like you don't have close family close by, if you have surgery and it's day surgery and they expect you to have somebody home for 24 hours afterwards, that does pose a really interesting situation where you might be more difficult, and they only tell you 7 days in advance. And so that has been something that we've actually been talking with Congressman Keating's office about, because it's a little bit more federal. But and we've also talked with Old Colony Elder Services, and they were like, yes, that is a flaw in the system, but these are some other things that they can think about, moving forward. But it is, if it's 24 hours, if that same surgery that she had, which was not an elective surgery, needed to be an emergency surgery, what would happen then? Then she would have been admitted for 24 hours, right? It just, some of the things medically don't make sense. So yeah, go and fight for that. Make them make sense. And so if you're talking to somebody who is thinking about doing this internship, this kind of internship, not necessarily with our office, but what kind of advice or what would you tell them about it?
I would tell them to make sure they have a working computer.
Oh, yeah.
But
I know we don't have extra computers.
but I think the best advice I could give would be to stay really open-minded and really take everything in, and making sure that you're living in the moment and enjoying what you're doing in that moment. Because when you look back at it, you're going to realize how much you learned. And I think the best part of it is at the end realizing how much more of an education you got from this experience in just a couple short months. So yeah,
I'm glad to hear that.
I would say if you're gonna commit to it, commit to it. Whether even if you can only do 1 day a week, or you say you can do 5 days, like make sure you do it. Make sure you commit to it, because at the end of the summer, yeah, it might look good on a resume, but like you're doing it, like doing it for others is doing it for yourself. And that's one thing I've learned, because I will admit, sort of came into it like, yeah, I can do some cool work, but also like this is gonna look really good on a resume. But as it goes through, like you need to care about what you do. Don't do something and don't waste other people's time just for yourself. Yeah. So that's my advice.
Yeah, it's more than a resume builder, that's for sure. It does. I mean, obviously it's going to build your resume, but you want to be doing good work, and we want to be able to rely on you, because it's myself and Donna, and so that's not and you see the number of emails, you see the number of things that we do, and so you all become a really important and crucial part of our team for the short or a long time, depending on where, we've had some interns as long as 9 months, and so which has been awesome, and as short as like maybe a month and a half or so, which is also awesome. But you become a really important part of our kind of how do we get all that we need to get done.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned was really important. I feel like you need to have a passion, and you need to be working for your community. So yeah, just kind of reiterating what you said, I think having a passion is the most important thing, and making sure that you're bringing that to the table, making sure that it's definitely a challenge, but making sure that you're expressing that and really showcasing how much you care.
Yeah. And then also sharing what are your interests too, because if we know you're really interested in something, we're going to try to funnel you to, if we have something that we can send you to that's on that topic, we'll do that.
And like what Stella said, having a passion's very important in your life, but not necessarily right now. And what I think is important about an internship is you might not know what you're fully passionate in yet, and it's okay that you don't know what you're passionate in. You might end up not enjoying the internship.
Yep.
But you need to remember that when you commit to something, or you're working with people and you're networking with people, they will remember you, and they will remember how you acted. And at the end of the day, if you aren't interested in it, no one's going to be offended, but they will be offended if you neglect it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
if you take the internship and you don't know where you're going to go with it, that's okay. Yeah. But truly give it your best foot forward, or else you're not going to get anything out of it. So that's
and you get to meet really cool people. I mean, I think not just like, obviously not but like the rest of the intern team. I think you had a great group of people who you guys all seem to really get along with, very different personalities and very different kind of life perspectives. So.
Yeah, I loved our team personally.
Yeah, it was kind of fun being the youngest, because it was like, when I went to the State House especially, it was really interesting being surrounded by such like a wide range of people where like, oh, that person is only a year older than me. They're going into 11th grade. So we kind of are on a similar playing field. But at the same time, our peers are also maybe sophomores in college, and kind of getting to work together with them was really cool.
Yeah, different perspectives, right? Has this changed your view on state government at all?
I wouldn't necessarily say it changed my view. It maybe gave me a view.
Yeah.
Because I was not educated enough to know really what the state government really did other than pass state laws. Like, I didn't know there was a state senate until I did this. Like,
hey, that's why we do these things, right?
Yeah, and so I think there's way more that goes on at the state level than you might think. And a lot of people like to just focus on the federal level and Congress and all that, but there's so much that happens at the state level that goes almost unseen. So I would say almost a little piece of advice is like, pay attention to your local elections. Like, those matter way more than just who's winning the presidency.
So true.
I think it showed me how important it is for the entire state, because I feel like a lot of times I just think, okay, local government Plymouth or local government Plymouth County, but it is so broad, and seeing everyone come together for like the better good of the entire state. Like, the community in the Berkshires is entirely different from the community on the Cape, but seeing everyone come together to make group decisions for everyone was really interesting, and it didn't really change my understanding, but it kind of just furthered it.
Yeah. And you got to see a couple of sessions in play, which is good.
That was really fun.
Yeah, just watching them. They're different than I think most people think that they would look like in some cases. It is a lot of hurry up and wait, like we discussed, but then when it's no longer the wait part, it's a lot of like, there's the speeches and there's things that are happening and people are discussing the issue on the floor, and then there's the vote. So the other piece I want to do is some like really fun, just like fun facts. So I know that, Stella, you've spent a lot of time in Plymouth. Nick, I know you haven't spent as much time in Plymouth, but I was just wanting to talk about kind of what's your favorite places around Plymouth that you've been to, if you have them. No pressure, Nick. But do you have a favorite restaurant in Plymouth, Stella? I know, right? It's really hard. We have so many good ones.
Yeah, that's hard to narrow down.
There's good sandwiches. There's good.
I feel like, is it the Lobster Pot or the Lobster Hut?
The Lobster Hut. The Lobster Hut's here, yes.
I feel like the Lobster Hut or the Cabbie Shack. I'll go with the Cabbie Shack.
Yeah.
The Cabbie Shack deserves its attention. Yeah. I feel like it's kind of a big, right there. Everyone knows the Cabbie Shack. Mm-hmm. It's like a landmark. It
is a landmark.
Yeah, you're like, oh, well, you go to Cabbie Shack, then you take a left from Cabbie Shack. It's like a direction standpoint.
Yes. You can definitely, it stands out. Do you have one, Nick?
I can only think of 2 places, so I'll just say them. Ziggy's Ice Cream.
Oh,
I loved that.
Great.
Actually, on my very first day, once the day was over, me, Francois, Annabelle, and Shay went to Ziggy's.
Yep.
That was like a good bonding. That was fun. I'll remember that. And then also, I don't know what it's called, but there's this little breakfast place by Plymouth Rock. And
Water Street Cafe?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went there after the July 4th 5K, and
yes,
that's
right. You did the 5K.
That was good.
It is delicious.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got stuck down there because of the parade, but the food was good. So
yeah, and you get a nice viewing point for the parade, right?
Yes.
You're right there.
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite trail or beach that you like to go to?
I think Manomet Beach holds a special place. There's definitely better beaches, but I feel like, the experience of Manomet Beach is definitely something unique and definitely a lot of fun. But...
Yeah. Yep. Especially on July 3rd.
Yep.
I've only been to one beach in Plymouth.
Long Beach?
I don't know. It was next to the Mayflower replica, so...
What beach is that?
It's down by the Rock.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about, like the little stairs that kind of go
down there? Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only one I've been to, so
we'll have to get you to some more places.
Yeah, I'll give it a good rating, though.
You got to come down and do some more of those when you're not on the internship. Okay. Enjoy. We have a favorite trails. My personal trail beach combo is Ellisville Harbor. It is gorgeous. It's a little rocky, but it's beautiful. It's a nice little walk out. and then you get to the beach, and there's seals depending on the time. It's gorgeous. It's my favorite. Let's see. What else we got? I think that's really it. But, like, what's next? Are you guys excited for your school year?
I actually really am.
Yes. What's exciting for your sophomore year?
So I was able to make a connection at the homelessness advocacy fair, and I met this really lovely woman who works for, who is the founder of type1families.org.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
and
so glad.
so I've already reached out to admin. I'm like, we need to get her in there.
Good.
So definitely going into the school year, I'm going to be hopefully working a lot with admin and getting some speakers to our school and stuff like that.
Good. And Nancy's great. She's wonderful. And that whole program with the little elephant and everything that they do is really
I have my
wonderful.
little elephant in my bag.
Oh, I love that. Oh.
I am excited for school because senior year, there's a lot going on, and college is exciting, and you're top of the school again.
Yeah.
You're top grade. It's way more chill senior year.
Yeah.
So
You think?
yeah,
We'll see.
at least for now.
Right.
Sure.
In the beginning.
And
yeah.
then it's like prepping for that big transition to
Yep.
college, and I'm just so excited to do all of that. So
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Well, I just want to thank you both for all of your time throughout the summer, obviously coming on the podcast and representing the rest of your crew. You all were wonderful, and it's been wonderful getting to know you, and I can't wait to see what you all continue to do, because I know there's big things in your future. So really thank you so much for everything and for sharing all the stuff with everyone else. I'm hoping that this gives people an insight into the work that you all do, along with Adam, Shay, Mame, Annabelle, and Francois, and the other interns that we've had during my time in office. I think we're probably close to 15 or so interns at this point. Because you all bring such an important viewpoint into our team, and you've all made just such a pleasure to have you all this summer. So I really appreciate you being there, and look forward to staying in touch with all of you. So our office is always looking for interns throughout the year. If you have any interest or know anybody, looking at you too as well, who might be interested in internship, especially now that the school year is going to start and you have friends who might go to school in Boston, let us know and send us an email at michelle.badger@mahouse.gov. You all have my cell phone. So do most people in Plymouth. So please shoot us a text or call us as well. And make sure to stay updated on what we're doing at the State House between our podcasts. You can follow us on social media. We have an Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and TikTok. Thank you again for everyone who's listening today. This is Legislative Lens, People in Policy. Enjoy the rest of your summer and have a great day.